Hey guys, and welcome back to a new episode of Cos-Say. Today I'm here with Chari, aka Holy Grail Cosplay. Um, we're gonna jump right into it because honestly, they're super talented. So if you don't already follow them, go and do it. We're gonna be talking about some stuff today. Y'all already know the drill. So Chari, can you tell me how you first got into cosplay?
So I got into it because of my sister. She's like 9 years older than me, and so whenever she did something, I thought that she was God. So she started cosplaying forever and a half ago, and I saw her doing it and was like, oh, I want to learn too. So she taught me how to sew when I was like 13, I think, and that was my first homemade cosplay, and I've been just doing it ever since.
What was your first cosplay?
Well, my first one that I made was Miu Ichigo from Tokyo Mew Mew, long time ago. If you dig around on my Instagram, you can find one single existing picture of it, and I keep it there to remind me of where I started.
That's always fun. How do you feel that your journey's been from that point to where you are now?
It's been uh, it's been off and on, you know. Oh, hello.
It's fine. She was gonna jump anyway.
Oh, so cute. Okay, sorry. It's been up and down, off and on. I had a while where I kind of wasn't cosplaying all that much. I was like really into it at the very beginning, and then like kind of in the middle, I was like, I'm not making a lot of stuff. And then like in recent years, I've just been like doing stuff all the time now. So it's been a long journey, and yet I still feel like I have so much farther to go all the time. So it's still going.
Was there a reason that you like dropped off for a little bit, or was it just
It was getting busier on in high school when everyone's depression is at its highest, sophomore and junior year of high school. It wasn't doing as much stuff around then. So I never stopped. I just didn't do as much or as much handmade things for a little while. And I didn't feel really confident in my sewing for a long time. I still feel like my sewing is kind of like, oh, I need to work on it more, but I'm a lot more confident than I used to be. So.
speaking of cosplays, what's your favorite cosplay that you've ever done?
I hate this question. It's so hard. It changes all the time. So, I think one of my proudest cosplays still, just in terms of the amount that I learned for it and the amount that I did on it, was probably Prince Lotor for Voltron back in the Voltron days. That costume was one of my few handmade head to toe. It was one of my bodysuit cosplays, one of my big armor builds, my first time doing body paint, and a lot of my firsts in wig styling, first lace front maybe. So I tried a lot of new things with that one, and it was very, very successful. So that's one of my favorites. I always felt really good when I was wearing that cosplay.
Um, let's talk about some cosplays that you have. What's up next?
Gosh, I have a lot kind of on my mind all the time. I'm currently working on Haku from Spirited Away. I'm doing a version that sort of melds the dragon and the human a little bit together. He's currently on my wig head with my Leon hat for Pokemon, the Pokemon champion, and Sword and Shield is another thing I want to work on soon. And if I look across my room, I can see my Alistair wig sitting in the corner very sadly because I started on him earlier this year and don't have plans to do it until around April, so I haven't worked on anything. But those are the three that are kind of in the works currently, and then I'm hoping, of course, to do some more My Hero, since that's all I do most of the time as far as making new cosplays. As far as makeup looks, I'm always doing whatever I just think of suddenly, so we'll see what happens there.
That's pretty cool. And you're in Osaka, right?
I am.
Are you originally from there?
No, I grew up in the U.S., grew up in Alabama. Unfortunately, we don't talk about it. I was in Florida for 3.5 years, and the Florida cosplay scene is really what kind of like got me back really into it and really into the community for the first time as a cosplayer. So I've lived in Osaka for just the past 1.5 years, but I do plan on staying around here.
What's the cosplay community like there?
Completely different in every single way. Cosplay in Japan is just done so differently. I would need an hour to talk about it altogether, but it's a mixture of different resources available and different customs, culture, and people all mixed together. So cosplay events and everything are very different. Also, cosplay is readily available in stores. You can just go to a store in Osaka, buy a cosplay there. I can think of 4 different stores just off the top of my head that you can go to buy a cosplay. But there's also people who make their own things, and especially with wigs and armor. That's very popular as far as people making their own stuff around here. So
that's pretty cool. I know that you said it would take you an hour to explain, but can you give us like a quick rundown of the atmosphere, like some of the things that you feel are good about it, not so good?
Sure. So I'll run you through going to a cosplay event in Japan. So first of all, Japan does not have a large number of anime conventions the way that you would think of back in the States or even other parts in the West. If it does have something like that, cosplay isn't necessarily a part of it. So you'll get big events like Anime Japan that has all of the booths and the dealers, and cosplay is like one thing that you can do for this certain select period of time, and you can't take pictures outside of this one area. So it's very different. But cosplay-specific events are very common over here. There's one basically every weekend that you could go to, depending on your area. So, first of all, you cannot arrive in cosplay, and it's preferred that you don't arrive in your full cosplay makeup if it's very unusual, I suppose. There are changing rooms for you to get dressed in at all events. So you'll walk into a room, and it's a very large room with tarps on the floor, and there's about 300 people getting dressed all like in their little 1 square meter of area and doing their makeup in this one room. You have to bring your own mirrors, bring your own everything, wipes and everything. You got to bring it yourself if you want to use it. So after you get changed at the event, then usually it's much shorter than you would have at an American event. Events are often from around, say, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then there will be a certain time in certain areas where you're allowed to take pictures. So you can go to the event and you can walk around these areas in a neighborhood, but you can only take pictures in the park, something like that. And then after, usually the photo taking time period stops a little before the event itself ends, so people have time to like go back and get changed and stuff before the event is officially over, and you have to leave not in your cosplay as well. So that is the standard cosplay event protocol here in Japan.
How do you feel about that? Like, what's your take?
Largely, it inconveniences me, but also there are so many more events to cosplay at, I should say. You can't cosplay in public here generally. There are some exceptions in public parks, not all public parks, just some of them. But in addition to events, which are often held at places like malls, sometimes like cool streets or even temples, there are also cosplay photo studios around here, so you can rent out a certain amount of time and go into studios that have multiple floors, all with different kinds of settings, and just play around in all of the fun cosplay sets. So there's good and bad. overall, I mean, I enjoy it enough to stick around here, and so yeah, you can't win it all.
What was the reason for you moving there?
I've wanted to live in Japan for years, really. Like, as I mentioned, my sister was my idol and my god as a child, so she moved to Japan 10 years ago, and I also had kind of fallen in love with language and culture. So in uni, I studied Japanese for 3 years and joined an English teaching program to get my foot in the door over here, and now I'm looking for the next step here in my Japan life. So I've had an interest in it for a while, and I really like the culture and language especially. So
yeah. Now I want to talk a little bit more about, you said you were originally from here, your Florida experience, because that's where I'm from.
oh yeah.
What was your experience in this community?
So my experience was almost like an outsider looking in. Since I had not been born, bred, and raised Florida, I kind of like jumped into the scene like I'm this new, fresh human who has never seen any of these amazing cosplay things in a place that is in Alabama. Whoa! Aside from AWA, but you know. So the Florida cosplay scene goes so hard all the time. I was honestly stunned. The first time I just went to a small event at the level of cosplayers that I would see at an event that has maybe 300 people at it. You're bringing so much to the table right now. I just brought like this little t-shirt. I was just gonna casual cosplay it today, but here you are in your full armor doing a test run or something. Whoa. So I was really shocked, but I also thought it was really cool. I always hear that there's some sorts of drama going on all the time everywhere in Florida between cosplayers, but I never was really a part of it. I just kind of heard about it on the streets, in the back alleys, but didn't get too involved in it somehow, so I don't want to stir anything up by going too deep into that, but overall, my experience in the Florida cosplay scene was an overwhelmingly positive one. Like, I was able to make a whole lot of friends with similar interests to me for, like, the first time. When I had gotten into the Voltron fandom, it was one of the first times I was into an active and popular fandom, so I was able to make a lot of friends through that and really spread out my connections and felt a sense of community around cosplay for pretty much the first time in my life, despite having been going to conventions for several years before moving. So
Wow, I forgot my question. It's fine. I also want to go back and touch on, so we talked about the cosplay that you're most confident in. What's the cosplay that you're the least confident in?
Oh, something that will never see the light of day, hon.
Oh!
Well, it's honestly more of a personal thing. See, I'm a non-binary person, and I kind of had my ultimate awakening of it while I was in cosplay once. And it was a time when I was wearing a female cosplay and I got catcalled. And I felt like so bad and dysphoric about it that 2 weeks later I had hair that was down to like here. I chopped it off and I was like, I can't do it anymore. It awakened something deep in me and I realized, God, I want to stop looking so much like a girl all the time. So I have some kind of strong dysphoria linked to like feminine cosplay and long hair. If it's both of those things, then I'm just like, yikes, I can't do it. Even if I feel like I might look nice in it, it's like, it just feels so wrong for me that I can't bring myself to do it, or if I do it, I can't bring myself to post it. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so my least confident thing would be like anytime I've tried, like maybe I can do a girl with long hair this time, and I take a picture and I'm like, no, I can't do it. That's bad. Can't do it. So, if you want something aside from just like general dysphoric things, I would say, as far as anything that I do currently, I'm not super confident in my Todoroki, and I mean Todo Shodoroki in this case, not the superior Todoroki who I love with all my life, but I don't know, I can't have, I have too many feelings to be Todoroki. I just want to make an expression, and he really doesn't do that. And that's hard for me. I want to be like smirk or something. I want to just like, I don't know, have a face, and like that's not it doesn't work. That's legally I'm not allowed to do that when I'm wearing Todo Shodoroki. So that's always hard for me, and I still do it sometimes because I have a cool that festival AU that I did, and it's really cool. It's fun to wear. It's just hard for me as a person to get into his character because he has so few feelings and I have so many all the time.
So what are some of your favorite cosplay events that you've been a part of in all the time that you've been cosplaying?
Okay, let me think. As far as American conventions, my favorites are AWA. I've been to that one 8 or 9 times. It used to be the con that I went to every single year without fail. Even if when I was living in Florida, I would go up there for just the weekend to do that con. And I even have done it once since moving to Japan because it's just feels nostalgic and homey for me. My favorite Florida con is Holiday Matsuri. As much flack as it'll get sometimes, it's just a really fun con. Everyone's in high spirits and festive and stuff. I don't know. I've only been once, but it was one of the most like just fun con experiences I've ever had. I felt like I knew everyone there, so I would just like walk down the hall and be like, hey, and be able to chat all the time. So that was great. And as far as con venues, I think Katsucon has the most beautiful venue that I have ever seen for an anime convention. The pictures that I got there were just really great, even though I didn't do any like majorly intense costumes at that con. I'm just like really happy with how everything was there. So yeah, that's a great one. As far as events here in Japan, there aren't as many like annual, this is the event that I always go to, this is that kind of thing doesn't really happen as much. And lots of the annual events that are actually big are a little bit miserable just because of the crowding. So things like Comic Market up in Tokyo, like that one's pretty miserable if you go to it a lot. I've actually only been once, God bless. But there's one called Nipponbashi Street Fest. It was canceled this year for coronavirus, haha, unfortunately, but it's also really miserable because of the crowding in streets and everything, so I'm half okay with it. But there's one event that I did have an amazing time at. I won't be able to go to it this year, but it is the World Cosplay Summit in Nagoya. And that one's really cool because that's the only event that I've been to in Japan where it's a multi-day event and it's okay for you to get into cosplay outside of the event. Like you can get into your cosplay at your hotel room and then go over to the event as long as you have the little badge that says, yeah, I legally paid to wear a cosplay this weekend, so don't at me, bro. It's just really fun. You get a lot of international people because it is, in fact, the World Cosplay Summit. There's people from all over the world who are competing, so that means that there's people from all over the world who are going to support the event. It's not majorly huge, but for a Japanese event, it is very big. And the only downside is that it is at the most miserable part of summer in Nagoya, which is one of the most miserable cities to be in the summer because it's so hot. But personally, I love the heat, and I would rather sweat to death than freeze, so I have a great time.
Well, that's really all the questions that I have, but do you have any advice for new cosplayers or literally anybody, actually?
My best advice for new cosplayers is, gosh, the cosplay scene can seem like it's so competitive and it's really high level too. Like, the more products and more sort of almost mainstream that it gets, the easier it is to sort of like look good, I guess. And it's really easy to get overwhelmed when you first start cosplay, or if you want to start cosplay, because you see all these people who are really amazing, and like they'll be like, oh yeah, I've been cosplaying for 3 months, and you're like, where was your ugly phase? I had to look like a 13-year-old in satin, so like legally you have to too. You have to do that. But you can't be too hard on yourself, and you really, if you want to get good at something, you just have to stay persistent at it. Like, don't be afraid to fail, and don't be discouraged if you do, because I mean, I fail over and over and over again. There's still things that I'm trying to learn more, even having cosplayed for 10 years. And if you stay persistent at something, then you will get better at it. So take small steps and don't give up. If you really want to pursue this as a hobby, as a passion, then just keep doing it. Do what you like. Yeah.
Now, do you have anything to say to your fans that are watching this video?
That's real. Oh, that's a weird word to say. That's really...
Friends. Following.
Fans. Following. That's crazy. I'm just like some dude. You know?
Mood.
You do a spit take on your own show. I'm just some dude. But I really appreciate anyone who supports me in any way. I love all of my people, all of my followers so dearly in all of my different social media. If you want to support me monetarily, I have a Patreon, and you can feel free to join it for as low as $1 a month. You don't have to. Sorry, let me just do that really
No, shameless plug. This is about you.
Slightly shameful plug.
Slightly shameful me every time I talk about my show.
Yeah, I so appreciate everyone who has supported me in just doing my hobby. I'm just doing stuff that I like, but other people seem to like it too, so if you're like, hey, let's all enjoy this together, I guess. Here's a picture of me naked in a bathtub. So, hey, it's working out. So yeah, to all of my followers, friends, fans, I appreciate your love and support, and I hope that you know that I love you too.
Aww, that's sweet. Okay, well, I'm gonna end the thingy. Thanks, guys, for watching this episode. It really means a lot, and it's really cool every time I get to talk to somebody in a new country or somewhere that I'm not, because it's cultural enrichment, and it's cool. Anyway, I will see you guys on the next episode. So for now, bye.